Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to some people. Welcome to Let the Madness Begin. William Coleman, Marshawn Taylor. How's it going today?
Oh man, shoot. Just got off work. I wish they say just got paid Friday night, but it is Friday.
All right. So was it a beautiful day for you?
Nah, hell no, I worked today, man. It'd been beautiful. I took the day off. It turned out to be a beautiful day. Working my behind off at the warehouse, man. But it's all good. Got bills to pay. People depending on me, things to do.
Oh,
Huh?
man. Well, you sound like a man in the house.
Something like that. Got a family reunion to get prepared for too. So
Next year?
this year, next month, matter of fact.
August?
Yep, middle of August.
Oh, man.
Heat starts dwindling down piece by bit, little by little.
That's
Here in good old South Carolina.
mosquito time.
Exactly. They gotta get it in before they pass on to the next life.
You know what? You're right. That's a
Yeah.
good way of putting it.
That's right.
And then all it is just a kiss telling us that they love us.
Oh, okay. But they keep them kisses to themselves. So what you got, man? What you got on your mind today?
Woo! So I titled this Pitch and Catch Friday,
Did you catch Friday?
aka F'd Up Questions Friday.
Oh,
Where
Lord.
we about to go and just touch some subjects, have a little fun.
All right.
So I can't take credit for this question. However, it was an interesting question that was given by a comedian, and it wasn't in the question form, but I want to word it in a question form. So, abortion is a hot topic. People on one side want to kill one person, people on the other side want to kill one person. And I just have this question, which is an interesting question. Can you be for Black or All Lives Matter and support abortions?
Ooh, if you're really woke like that, no. If you're really woke like that, no.
Because that's what's going on now.
Right.
That's what people.
But see, that goes back to the episode of the Misinformed. The very misinformed, and to pretend to be as they call the faux woke people.
No problem, because the comedian, she made a joke. She was like, her friend came to her and said that they need to do more for Black lives and everything.
Who's we though? Who's they? Who is she about they? The comedians?
Her, yeah, she was talking about her and her friend. Her friend came to her.
Oh, so that they should do.
Yeah, they need to do more.
Like what?
Because she was like, we've been to 10 marches. What more can we do? She was like, we got to stop the killings of black men by police officers. And she said, but you done had 10 abortions. How many Black men you done killed?
Interesting. Okay, that's a way to look at it.
That's why I had to, that's what really sparked.
So what's the question though? So what's the question? The one you just asked? There's another question to this? So let me put it this way. If that's your question, it's like, no, people, like I said, it's those that are misinformed and not educated enough. Those who are, and that includes those that are overly educated. Like I said, you sit there, you jump on these bandwagons to be against these things, but you got to make sure you know what you're talking about. Make sure what you're being a part of is what you want to be a part of. Just don't, because just for instance, with the Me Too movement, it's like, a lot of times lately with these female movements, they hop on these movements not knowing the total meaning or how it got started. All this, hey, my fellow Black woman or my fellow woman is involved and I got to be a part of it.
Ooh, I got a question for you on that one too.
And that's the thing. My thing was always been taught, hey, make sure you know what you're a part of, from the beginning to the end, what it's always about, who's a part of what you got going on, and what is their agenda is a part of what you want to be involved in. Because you don't want to get mixed up in, and say, for instance, those same people form a group and you decided you that celebrity, you want to be a part of that group. You sit there, you back them, you're in the commercials, but all of a sudden, a branch of that group decides to go extreme and bomb abortion clinics, or or say bomb those who, or attack people who have committed such a thing, or people, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. What can you say to that? And that's the thing. Make sure you know what you're a part of before you sit there and stamp your, put your stamp of approval. Whether, you could be a celebrity. You don't have to be a celebrity. You could be just somebody in general, but don't always be quick to follow. Go ahead. What you got?
No. I agree with you 100%. And like I said, when I heard the joke, that's what made me ask the question. I was like, can you? Because it seemed like you're fighting yourself. On one hand, you're like, I want to be pro-life, all lives matter, but at the same time, you support an abortion, which take away lives. So what are you for? Or are you just a person that just want to be whatever?
But I mean, there's nothing wrong with pro-choice. But like I said, make sure you know what it means to the letter, to the syllable, to every vowel and every consonant in the words that you're saying. You're pro-choice, you're pro-life, which if you look at it, okay, it's long. We didn't go too far deeper. What's your next question? Yeah.
Ready for this one?
Let's go for it.
All right. So this is for all my conservative people. It's mostly the Black conservatives,
Oh, Lord.
Herschel Walker, Candace Owens and all of them.
Like I said, another group of uninformed, overly educated Black people. Go ahead. Let's go. Can
you love America and all its freedoms and not serve its country in uniform? The ultimate thing for it. And the reason I bring this up is because, you have all these Black conservatives who are all for that.
Okay, so
go ahead.
No, go finish. No, go ahead and finish first.
You have a lot, and it's not just Black conservatives.
Yeah, because I want you to get the whole thing. Yeah, go ahead and get the whole thing before I answer. Go ahead.
But I just, I'm gonna do Black people more so because we're Black. But you're not serving.
Right.
I mean, we need people in uniform, especially now.
And a lot
of not serving.
It's a good question, because how many Black conservatives we say have actually served their country?
Exactly.
Right. And they might be out there, but they're not out there running for office. And then necessarily because, like I said, there's retired veterans, there's disabled veterans that could run. Like I said, a lot of them that are conservative have been of other persuasions on the conservative side. So my thing is this: it's cool to be part of something that's new, in a sense,
right?
Because Black conservatives, I ain't say we're non-existent, but they really didn't have a place or a voice,
because they wasn't accepted.
Exactly. But now you're accepted. Why? Because your vote is needed.
That's true.
Your vote is needed. You know what I'm saying? Your face is needed. Your presence is needed. Why? Because I say, we as conservatives, we're all inclusive. So my question to you is, not to stay off the subject, how many people in the LGBTQ community are conservative? That's another question. But let's go back to what you were saying. The question is this. My answer is this. I feel that anybody that calls themselves a patriot, cannot be. You gotta be about it before you speak about it. So in other words, like you said, they have served their country in one shape, one manner or another. Like I said, served their country, said the oath, said I do, and not necessarily served it in a combat zone or whatever, but you wore the uniform. You wore the uniform. You put your time in. You got that status to say, hey, you served honorably, you got discharged honorably, that type of deal. I mean, it's a lot because you think about it, a lot of times in the beginning, you think about how many presidents that have served.
Yeah. At one point in time, it looked like you had to do that.
It was like a prerequisite almost, damn near. How many senators?
Yeah.
Representatives of the House.
Yeah.
You know, you look at it, it's quite, it's not a lot, but it's a good, you know, the ones that really get mentioned a lot put time in, you know, whether, you know, even up to recent times, whether it be the National Guard, the reserves, Air National Guard, Air Force Reserves, or whatever, Navy, whatever, you know,
Right.
you've always, you know, put that time in, you know, and I could see where their perspective, a lot of these conservatives that are conservatives come from that have served. You know, you coming from a perspective of where, especially being Republican, they say a lot of times Republicans support war,
Yeah.
you know, or some kind of conflict, you know. So you know the point of view when it comes to being, you know, on the battlefield, being hurt, being scared, being terrified, you know, joyous occasions, even within them terrifying times, you
Right.
know. So for that, yeah, like I said, you can't call yourself, I don't like people when they call themselves patriots and they haven't served, period, whether they're black, white, whatever, you know, because you put in your blood, sweat, and tears for the country. So to say that you're for your country.
Right. And I agree with that. And like I said, what really made me think of that question
Yeah, I just want to say,
was,
what come with that question?
so, you know, you hear Jason Whitlock wanting to bash LeBron and all these people want to bash, and we're gonna get on LeBron for his stupidity, but you know, everybody want to bash, you know, people who speak up against certain things. But I'm the type of person, like, are you put on the uniform like Ernest Cantor Freedom that he
Right.
wants to call himself? Yeah, you got the last name Freedom, but we could fit you in the uniform.
True.
Last time I checked, I mean, if you, especially if you feel like you ain't getting no work in the NBA, we could sure use you in a uniform right now. But ain't nobody signing up for that. All these
Now,
freedoms,
hey
everybody
man,
love freedom, but
as long
nobody
as you,
signing up.
hey, long as the military say, as long as you can hold a weapon and aim it and shoot at a target, an enemy
So,
combatant, you can join.
so I'm
There's
trying to figure
ways
out
in.
how are we so low in recruiting, but yet we have all these patriots. We have all these people who love freedom. They love the American flag. They love everything else, but they don't
And
put
then,
the time
yeah,
to put in the
but
uniform.
you got to keep in mind, you sometimes we repeat what sounds good to us.
Mm,
You know, like I said, we're like the repeater out there. Like we hear something good, and it may not be the full spectrum what that person, the original person that provided content said, but by the time it comes in our ear and out our mouth, it'll turn to a whole different thing.
okay, I
And
like
that's
it.
what that's a lot of times what happens in politics, especially in the conservatives. You know, they may, you know, like I said, a lot of them follow what Donald Trump says. You know, a lot of them follows what what's my man's name? I don't think is McConnell. I don't think he's a conservative, is he? I think he's a conservative.
Yeah.
McConnell. Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, I believe he's a conservative. So, but even with that, I'll leave that one alone. I'll leave that alone. But yeah, so but yeah, like I said, you gotta be careful what we become a part of, and that makes sure that's what you're truly about. Because you can't speak patriotism. That's for any party, whoever. If you ain't put in that time for your country, whether it's 4 years, the basic 4 year contract.
No, it's 8 years, the basic 8 year contract, but it's 4 years. It's 4 by 4. So you get 4 years of
Right.
active duty
And then
and then
for
4 years
IR
in the,
or
yes.
reserve. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, either way, you put in that minimum time, you can speak fairly. And like I said, and you got discharged honorably, not 8 years and you half step, you know, the last six, you know,
Right.
that type of deal. Like you were full blown, you put in that time, you served honorably, you got discharged honorably, you know, or you retired or however you mean it means, you know, you did what was right, you know. I can understand that. Yeah, you can speak. Yeah, but yeah, no. Patriotism should be tied to just a particular party, and that's nothing I don't like either.
Right.
You know, patriotism involves a country, not a specific party within a country.
I agree with you
Because
100%.
in that case, neither one of the parties are being patriotic. Have never been patriotic.
You 100% right about that, because Democrats don't give a crap about you in uniform. But if
Look,
you was
man.
a pregnant woman, boy, they'll
Look,
throw you all the money in the world.
like I
I
said,
don't understand that.
yeah, okay, but yeah, no. By all means, I do agree. I definitely agree, man. Like I said, nobody can speak patriotism without having, you know, put their line in, their name and their lives, the name on their line and their lives on line to serve. Yeah. What's the next one?
Mm. So this one is a shout out to our boy Styles P, aka Shira.
Oh Lord.
Did you see the video?
No, I have yet to see the video.
It's a funny video. But the question is, do Black people believe all cops are bad? So of course we dealing with issues. There's a young man, unfortunately, who lost his life. I think he was shot, I think they said 46 times. So
No. He got shot at over 90 times and he got hit over 60 times.
okay, yeah. So I mean, he was unarmed.
And then I don't know if I need to pull up a scene of the article. There was also a crash in Brunswick County, North Carolina. The boy supposedly died in a crash. But the word is that while he's being chased by the police, he was on his phone with his mother. They said they saw the car flip and the boy was supposedly alive. Video and everything showing him get out the car. But all of a sudden, his mom gets a call that his mom is at the morgue. They sent her son at the morgue by the state trooper. So she gets there. They won't allow the mother to see the child. The sheriff's department refuses to allow her to see the child. They told her she couldn't get in, even to the hospital, to identify. Because mind you, you got to identify the body to make sure it's your child. So how
right? That's what I'm about to say. You can't do that. That's illegal.
So the state trooper tried to step in. They wouldn't even let him in to see what was going on. Yeah, shameful, isn't it? Yeah. Things that go on.
Yeah.
So when I find that thing, I'll send it to you. But yeah, that's the word so far. That yeah, he supposedly survived the crash, or whatever, and yeah, he didn't make it to the hospital alive.
Yeah, and so you have stories like that,
Right.
and plenty other. We know some of the ones that have hit national, even world news, and so we understand that there's some type of animosity that goes way beyond what's happening now. It goes deeper than
Right.
But then, on the flip side of it, you have situations like Styles P, aka Shira, and
Shira, man.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna call him Shira. If you watch the video, that man has so much feminine energy. He looked like he was gonna turn into a female superhero.
Don't do that.
No, I'm gonna ask you this question. I'm gonna continue on, but I want to ask you this question.
Okay, go ahead.
When was it cool for a man to sit up there and call another man a B and a hole and a B in the hole the whole time? When in American history was that ever cool for a man to sit up there and call another man a B and a hole?
I do that. I don't know.
Exactly. But you Styles P, you're a gangster.
Well, he's being gangster about it when it happened.
Huh?
He was being a gangster about it when it happened.
That's not gangster. That's feminine energy. That's what females do. I see the way he was acting. I seen on Basketball Wives. You were. I'm like, dang, Styles. Well, you look like an episode of Basketball Wives, but you're getting praised as if you did something. But the reason why I bring that situation up is because in that situation, nobody asked why the woman was being arrested. Nobody said anything about that. What they were doing was saying, oh, she's being harassed because she's a dyke. That had nothing to do. Why was she being arrested? You didn't say she was being unlawfully arrested. Yo, she's a girl. She's a girl. I'm like, so it's okay for a female to commit a crime, but it's not okay for her to be handcuffed. Make it make sense. Yo, man, you a hoe. It's a style. You a hoe. You a B. You this and you that. But what did he do?
Were the police officers
arresting her?
Arresting her. Okay.
So, and this is how stupid we are as Black people, and I say this.
Right.
Styles says something that made me realize that if you really pay attention to the video, now you see why cops may do the things they do. Ooh, so you had two white officers who are trying to arrest a female.
Okay. Is the reason behind it?
We don't know the reason behind it.
Oh.
But we know that obviously she did something wrong. And the reason why I say that is because nobody in the video said that she was unlawfully arrested.
Oh, so there were other people, witnesses there?
Yeah, there were witnesses.
Were there the Black people there and then witnesses?
There were a whole bunch of Black people.
So none of them spoke up?
No, all they were doing was saying that they were being too rough with her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or else insulting the police officer, saying, "You just got out of high school," or what Styles did, which is why I say this is how I'm about to say. Styles actually, while they were arresting her, Styles walked up to the girl in the vicinity of where the officers were arresting her, which by the way is usually a no-no. You try to give them some space because they don't know what you're doing.
Right.
He walked up onto them. He was like, "Hey, sister, relax." So she was resisting arrest, which makes it look more awkward.
Right.
Black people don't understand that. We don't understand when you resist arrest, it looks worse.
No, it gets worse. Yeah.
It gets worse. So
It gets worse.
you
I
know
understand
she's
that.
resisting
Good
arrest, but
point.
what you don't want to acknowledge that.
Right.
So she's resisting arrest. You have to tell her she's resisting arrest. So now you got two white officers who are trying to go ahead and handcuff this female so they could get her taken out. All of a sudden, they surrounded by a whole bunch of black people calling them names and stuff.
That's ignorance on them. Because the thing is, and I see what your point is. Yeah, a lot of times we ready to jump into a situation not knowing the whole deal, what was going on. You know, nobody witnessed what she had done in order for them to even them to stop her. For one, good point. Two, like you said, no one knows what she was actually accused of doing. You know, three, the minute we see cops, whether they're black, white, or whatever, we're ready to make a big deal, make a big hubbub about it. You know, like you said, not trying to figure out what the situation is. Does it require that? You know, like you said, he told the sister just to relax. So like you said, what was going on her in order for her to relax? You know, what do you got going on? What does she got going on that she had to sit there and resist them handcuffing her? Like you said, you doing something for them to get everybody's attention to come to your aid.
Right.
You know, I don't know about rescue because I'm pretty sure she still went to jail.
Right.
You know, three. Also, you, like you said, you gotta be careful in them situations. You know, especially being who you are, and if the minute, surprising if they didn't pull a gun on him, if they find you in intimidating, like you said, that calls for more cops, or a much more escalated response. You know, somebody could get hurt, really, really severely hurt, or more or less, God forbid, shot and killed.
And you know, this is coming from me, and we all know how I feel, and I'm like, you know what? I'm actually proud of the cops because the way Styles was acting, and when you watch the video, you're gonna text me, you're gonna be like, yeah, he
Okay,
like
yeah. Let me check the video out first, and I'll get back to you.
You'll be like, yeah, he looked like She-Ra.
But yeah, so I mean, let me get back. But like I said, when it comes to situations, we got to be careful. You know, we got to make sure we have whoever is being wrongfully, if it's wrongfully, make sure we have their best interest in mind. Make sure they're safe. Make sure they're able to be properly represented. You know, and make sure they have some kind of support. You know, not necessarily going to bail them out, but make sure, hey, they, you know, we witnessed something. Make sure that they're able to get their family involved to know what's going on with them. You know,
and that's what I was saying. I was like, to me, Styles will look more like a man and a hero in the situation. If he was out there, he'd say, "Hey, sister, you know, don't resist. I'm gonna go with you to the station, and I'm gonna make sure we get you a lawyer and everything."
Yeah,
that meant more. That would have been more to me than instead of calling the cop a being a hoe and all this stuff, and you don't know this cop.
Right.
And one thing we as Black people we do, and I'm guilty of it, is, and this is why I said then it's a double standard. We see the killings that cops do, and the first thing they say is they feel threatened. But then you have a video like this where you actually see a cops being threatened. So it's like we got to make it make sense. The one doesn't justify the other. I'm not gonna say one justifies the other. But now, if these two white cops now, when they go into a Black neighborhood, if they decide to go into a Black neighborhood, FYI, a lot of Black neighborhoods right now are suffering more because cops are not going to their aids anymore, or they're taking their time.
Yeah.
And you know, make it make sense. So if we have an issue with cops, which I have no problems with, because the history of cops and African Americans is not cool. But when I see videos like this and I see us parading, and it's like, wait a second, you telling me you fear the cops are going to shoot you, but yet you purposely get in the cop's face to make him feel, to make yourself feel better because you knew he couldn't shoot you. It's like going to the zoo, looking at the lion and saying, oh, these lions are boring. Man, why, man, these lions, man, I can outrun these lions, man. And not realizing that these lions are in a cage situation. They're not in the wild. These cops were in a cage situation.
Okay.
You are surrounding them. They are on film. You cursing them out. You Styles P. They may know you. They may not know you. This, that, and the third. And so they're in a cage situation. So they know they can't react the way they really probably would have wanted to react or say what they wanted to say. So you sitting here talking about you look like a man, and online they're praising Pete like he's a man. I'm sitting there like, no, you're a punk because you did it in a situation where they couldn't react.
Okay.
If you was a man, you would meet him outside of uniform.
Oh, okay. Interesting concept.
But you're not man enough to do that.
Okay.
Because we know for a fact, and I'm gonna put it out there, some of these white boys are crazy. They've been shooting since they were 5.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, they into this UFC stuff and everything. They don't mind going out there and getting beat up.
Getting tangled up. Yeah, they don't mind.
Yeah.
You might get hit in the face.
Yeah, so Styles, or if you man enough, meet that cop. Do it for charity. You ain't gonna do that because you She-Ra. You got feminine energy. And I'm sad because I love the lot.
Why you talking that crazy?
All right, I'll say it like this. If you watch the video, if you watch the video and you don't feel the same way, I will apologize.
Yeah, we'll revisit this. Yeah, next week.
I will publicly apologize.
Yeah. Let me watch the video and I get back to you on that one. But what's your next point, man? You wild.
So to add on to this, do you think that as Black people, we are against authority? And the reason why I bring this up is not only the Styles people, then Boosie gets handcuffed for a situation in Georgia. The details are still trying to come out about that. You have Brittany Griner who gets detained in a detention situation in Russia, and as Black people, we're all trying to fight.
Let's stop there with the last two. Okay, the first one, Brittany Griner, like I told you, she broke a law in a foreign country. A foreign country. Not in a U.S. territory or a former territory, or, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, no, you broke a law in a foreign country. A country, yet we're in a serious face-off or standoff at this moment with.
Bigger than
all
people
jokes
think.
aside, all things saying, people don't understand that.
Maybe people should have paid attention in history class, because even if you just look at the Cold War, you'll understand how serious it is between.
Yes, and that's people don't understand. But this, you, like I said, and people don't understand the concept of what's going on. But and let me put it this way, and not to be wrong, look at it this way: when you're playing chess, but chess turns into a game of can I have? You can have your pawn in exchange for one of our rooks.
It's not a good look.
Or knights. But in that sense, that's what it. Now, when it comes to, like I said, Boosie, I think the word, maybe he was speeding. I don't know. If you breaking the law, you're breaking the law, B. You can't scream, you're being wrong, you're being picked out. Now, it's one thing you driving down through the neighborhood, you chilling, playing music, you driving the speed limit. Yeah, you might be, puffing on some stuff, drinking on some stuff or whatever. Then all of a sudden, you get pulled, even on suspicion. Yeah, I can see that. But we can't sit there and scream, scream murder every time, we get stopped and we've done something wrong and we've been caught. And that's the thing. And then we want somebody to come to our rescue and stand up for us. By all means, I would. It'd be great if Brittany Griner could come home. even though she just left. But we got to keep in mind, we can't sit there and send the president and negotiate on our behalf if we have broken a law in a foreign country. Now people, you got to figure out now how much pound of flesh we're going to give up in order to suffice our request to release the young lady, from overseas. Right. And people don't realize that, So I don't get it when they say, if, whatever, it doesn't make sense if you're not being logical about what's going on before us.
No, I agree. And WNBA players, you're willing to join the United States military too. We could use you in uniform. We're fair and balanced. Equality, the military. Join us. We need you. Someone brought up a good point. She's not the only one being held in Russia. I think they're holding a Marine.
Yes.
Do you think her life is more valuable than that Marine's?
At the moment, yes.
Okay.
It shouldn't be, but yeah. Because she covers 3 categories. We
know. Okay. And that's going to be my next conversation after this. But yeah, so it's interesting because LeBron James, he went on his LeBron James, I want to say something, and then realized what I said didn't make sense. He said, if he was her, he wouldn't want to come back to America because America abandoned her. Then I guess he had a moment of clarity after he finished drinking his wine. And then he was like, you know what? Let me backtrack that because I need to really think about things before I say something. True. And it made me wonder, do we really hate authority that much that we're not willing to conform in certain aspects?
Yes.
That's crazy because every country has rules.
Yeah.
We talked about this before, and a lot of people speak on this. You think it's bad in America? You lift your foot a certain way in some countries, it's bad. You spit in some countries, it's bad. Women in some countries, you can't wear all that stuff you wear here, a lack of wearing here in some countries. So there are rules everywhere, and their rules. We don't have to sit up here and understand the rules, but what we have to do is abide by them. I seen Locked Up Abroad. I'm scared. I travel, I'm scared. I keep my bag on me. Right. I don't even want to look suspicious. They don't play. They rape you 5 ways through Sunday over there. There's no Muslims to join. And it Anna Beasley. You remember on eyes, my man, he got a little hat he put on his headphones and he just hit you one time and just rape you in the kitchen for no reason.
Yeah.
I don't want Orlando Brown talking about me like he talked about Bow Wow. That man need help. Hey, I'm like, huh?
You got the good according to him.
Yeah, like, and before I go to my next question, I want to say this. I'm laughing, but he needs help, and I pray to God that people around him really give him some help, because sometimes people say stuff that sounds crazy, but it may be true. I'm not saying that part is true. I do believe that he was molested.
Who? Orlando Brown?
Orlando Brown.
I think so.
And I believe he knows a lot that has gone on in Hollywood, especially when it comes to young actors around his age. So I don't think he's crazy.
There's always some truth to somebody crazy stories. So always some truth to it.
Yeah, so I hope he does get help, because this story may not end well. And I don't want him to kill himself, or worse, or someone kills him because he may start revealing it.
Ooh.
Really revealing it.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
So I want to circle back around to our beautiful Black queens. And I'm not trying to be funny when I say that. Just put that out there. This is actually a serious question.
All right, let's go for it.
Are Black women being used? And the reason why I ask that is because when it comes to the abortion situation, statistics show that white women are having more abortions than Black women.
True.
Which is one of the reasons why they repealed it, was not for Black women. It really had nothing to do with Black women. You know, the studies are out there. The white race is not growing in America.
Interesting.
And, you know, this is part of a way to probably try to preserve their race. And I can't get mad at that. You know, they realizing that more white women are having abortions, then, you know, how do we, you know, keep them from having abortions? But we see Black women spearheading this when it's not really affecting them. When it comes to the homosexual gay community, we see Black women supporting them, yet we see time and time again that the gay and lesbian community always bash Black women.
Yeah.
Or always try to imitate Black women, or feel like Black women are easily replaced. And what I'm noticing is that it's a stigma that if you know, to grab Black women and bring them into your cause because they'll fight hard for your cause when it doesn't benefit them in the end.
Very true.
And I want to know, what is that lack of why is there a lack of self-value with Black women that they feel like they have to hop on everything to feel like they're a part of something? Because it seems like everything they hop on actually doesn't benefit them. And we even look at how Hollywood, when, you know, when the white actresses were fighting for equal pay, they brought the Black women in there to help them. But what was missing was the fact that those same white women didn't even fight for the Black women to get the same pay that they were making. So we see this trend of Black women being used, and it's like, do we like abuse?
Ooh.
Or do we like to feel a part of something?
I think it's, I go with the second. I would say be abused. I think it's a part of, you know, because I think, you know, we sit there, and it's a lot of us, period. We sit there and say we want to be a part of something. And then it goes back to the earlier conversation. Sometimes we're being sold, you know, the glamour and the glamour and the what's a good thing to say? It's like we're not giving the whole story. You're giving the good, you know, the good. Yeah, you know, we could, you know, you're being sold the rainbows, the butterflies, you know, the unicorns. You know, you jump in the water, it turns into coconut milk. You know, when it rains, you know, honey. When it snows, it's marshmallows. That's right. What you're being sold, but not knowing the truth is when you step into wherever you step into, you know, everything just goes left. You know, yeah, the marshmallows, actually turns into worst you could think of. You know, that honey that comes down when it rains may not be honey. You know, the reality is we get sold. You get sold the good side, and not knowing that the negative things that may bring upon you, things to pull it from. Like, for instance, they said Black feminism. You know, Black feminism is a thing that really doesn't unite us. It keeps us apart. It divides. It pulls you away from something that you really should be a part of. You know, because my thing is this. When we did the civil rights movement, we never excluded Black women. You know, no, they weren't always up front, but we did that as wide. Some that did speak up did step forward, but in a sense, we kept them not behind us because they felt less than us. Is a way that they protected them. goes back to the conversation we had about Martin Luther King and his wife, you know, and discretion that somebody tried to bring up to discredit who he was, you know. In a lot of ways, they were protecting each other. He protected her by keeping her. No, he didn't want her. I'm pretty sure she wanted her to do her part and be out there with her husband, regardless of what he was doing. But at the same time, what happens to the kids if we're both gone? At the same time, she's protecting him, knowing that, hey, they may have been sending her videos, tapes, letters or whatever about his discretions. But she knew at the same time, if she were to step away from him, it takes away from the cause of the whole, and that's what people need to understand. Feminism was a thing that caused a lot of separation in a lot of communities, not just the black community alone, and yeah, well, we're glad you want, there's nothing wrong with trying to be heard. But my thing is, you shouldn't always try to be, so there's a difference between trying to be the loudest, being heard because you're the loudest, instead of being heard because it makes sense of what you're saying. It makes a lot of sense. So
it's funny you said be heard. And
right.
If most people who grew up with their grandparents still living and together, and maybe their parents still living and together, and especially in the Black community, the Black woman has always been heard.
True.
The black woman, that man can do whatever he wants to. Go ahead.
She's the foundation. They're the foundation.
Exactly.
I realize that.
That the Black man could do what he wants to, and that Black woman will come and she'll whisper words to him, and things will change.
Because for instance, and let me give you everybody a quick example. Look at Good Times. Look at Jeffersons. Look at the Huxtables and the Cosby Show. Everything was founded around who? Claire Huxtable, Louise Jefferson, and Florida.
Yep.
Florida didn't go out there and say, you know what? Since I don't feel a part of this Black man, I'm gonna go out there and do the calls for my sisters. No, she made sure she held it down for James and the kids. Weezy, well, Lionel was grown, but even still, she made sure she held George down. But never time she never stepped away and said, you know what, I don't feel equal. I'm gonna go out and do this. And like I said, even though these are sitcoms and television shows, same thing with Claire Huxtable. She was a lawyer. The lawyer.
And still
a strong, solid Black woman.
And still cooked and helped clean the house
she
too.
Still, like I said, she didn't separate herself from her husband. These women did not separate themselves from their husbands. Look at the marriages of then and now. There was never a time where, if when the minute the two income housing homes became a thing where women's like, well, I make the most, I should have to say so. Or no, I have the authority. No, it's not a matter of authority. When it's a matter of order. What you're bringing is nothing separate. It's bringing it to the whole. Same thing with the man.
Right.
And any man that says otherwise, but the minute you start separating yourself from the whole, regardless of what you decided is wrong, because it's not her bills and my bills, it's our bills. We pay them together. We don't pay them 50-50. We pay them however best we can. Right. We pay them together, and that's the thing to understand. That extra, okay, you make 100,000, I make 65. Okay, what's that supposed to mean?
Yeah, we make 165,000
together. Because like you said, when we do taxes, most majority of the time we file together, right?
Yep.
So a lot of times when we get stuff, we get them together. Both our names are on it. They say, hey, Mr. Taylor, since you don't make as much money, we're just gonna put Mrs. Taylor's name on this house.
Right.
No. because they're not gonna finance just you or just her. They're not gonna give you a mortgage just based on your income alone.
No, you're absolutely 100% right.
Cars, credit cards. Now, the credit cards are a different thing. It's a little tricky with the credit card. But
Right.
9 times out of 10, no, you want that extra income. Why? Because it shows that especially if your debt to income rate, your debt to income rate is phenomenal. Oh, by all means, it opens a lot of doors.
Mm-hmm.
So if my measly $65,000 is not getting up to $100,000, by all means, then we definitely got to talk, because like I said, finances should never be a constant issue, and that's the thing. So not to get up straight of all, but my thing is this: when we step away from the order of things, that's when the village is most at its weakest point, and that's what it is. We've gone away from the things that kept us together, that kept us whole, that made us strong, and even kept us stronger.
No, I agree with you 100%. And that's where I have an issue. That's why I said with Black women, and I don't want it to feel like this is a knock on them. Black men, we have issues, but the one thing that the country has done is they divided the Black woman, made her feel like she had the same issues as the white woman with her man, and that wasn't the case. Remember, we went through slavery together. We went through Jim Crow together. We went through the crack epidemic together.
But think about it. Whose mouth is to come out of what you just said? It just came out of your mouth. It didn't come out of a woman that approaches the other Black woman.
Right.
Because you think about it, sometimes if I know how to appeal to you in a way that gets you to think and then gets you want to be a part of it, then I know I have not necessarily control. I have a persuasion over you. So if I'm a male and I come to you and hit you the same thing I just hit you with, you know what, you're right. You might be a little militant for the next 5-10 minutes of your mind, thinking about what just came into your mind.
True.
And it's sort of the same thing when it comes to, a lot of these groups, I'm like, okay, well, sister, well, damn, when this happened, where was your Black man? Where was your Black king? Hey, when this is going on, where was your Black queen? Where's your Black queen?
No, you're absolutely 100% right.
And like I said, all sides play. And then when it comes to certain targets, both sides play their hands the best way that works and best that works for them.
Oh, yeah. This has been probably the best. It's funny. Despite if you believe in it or not, it's different. The Willie Lynch letter.
Right.
But if you really pay attention to it, we're living it because we're so divided.
Yeah. It's even, I think it's even worse now, because it's like we feel we've made it without the other.
Right.
And it's not the case at all. Some of us get a little bit of money, we're able to go buy cars, houses. Cool. You didn't need another man or woman to help you. That's fine. But keep in mind, when we start projecting that, oh, I really don't need anybody, but I want somebody in my life. People gonna look at you kind of sideways. So why are you here? Why are you here? What do you want? What are we trying to? What is it we need to figure out? What you need? What you need? Just a date? We should need a little time to time, little penis, or be for JJ. What you need? What you need a little bit? What you here for? How you want me to take? Because a lot of people, and that's what our people don't understand is I wouldn't take you seriously if you came at me like that.
You know what? That's actually a great point, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that is true. And I think I may have made that mistake before too. And coming out your gate, I'm in a position, right now I don't need a woman, and it's like, well, if I come out the gate with my mouth saying that puts her in a position to be like, then what can I do for you? Except
what can I do for you? Like, what do you need me for?
Yeah.
Like I said, because the people, and that's where we go wrong at, is like I said, we point out the things that we already have. What we don't have. Do you have companionship? Do you have that friend, that confidant? That somebody you talk to? We ain't talking about physical needs. We talking about things outside your physical needs.
Right.
Somebody that can pour into you mentally, physically, emotionally.
Man.
And somebody, and then they do the same for you, and vice versa. And vice versa.
That is so true. And it's crazy because I don't think as Black people now we realize that even if you say we're not going to use our parents as an example.
It's not that we realize, we got away from that. But go ahead and continue what you're saying.
Okay, I like that. We got away from, but if you don't use your parents as an example or your grandparents.
And that's that's the issue. Go ahead.
But there's a generation that literally lived without nothing and had the love.
Right.
And we saw that in different forms. And it's like all of a sudden people came in and said, you know, what have they done for you? What are you doing for them? You know, and broke that up. Now realizing we never had those types of issues. Our foundation has always been a family foundation.
Right.
However you look at family that's your determination. You know, people look at family different ways, but it was always a family that has always been the nucleus of our community. And it's like,
but
go ahead.
No, go finish.
No, I was gonna say, but now you see, and I think you mentioned this, now you see the wolves devouring our community because there's nobody protecting it anymore.
Yeah. Because and like I say, go back to what the key word said, it was a generation of when we had little or nothing but love.
Yeah.
But now we equate love with what? Material things, right? Money, material, and material things. You know, we became the one thing, like you said, the generation of love, because we had nothing, because of, oh, now I love that you're able to get something. Now, hey, or now that we have something, we love each other. Now that we're able to get things, we love each. I love you, you love me. Now that you're able to get me things, now that you're able to, I can get her things. You know, we equate that with love. Okay, if I get her the Mercedes instead of, or I get her the Infiniti instead of the Mazda, oh yeah, she knows I really love her. You know.
Sad part about it is we see it play out for social media.
It does, and that's, like I said, that's what it's come to. That's how we equate love, through how much of what they're willing to give us to express their love for us, instead of a simple card or note.
True. It's actually brought another question up, but I'm gonna mention the question, but we're gonna say that for another day. I think that's a whole show by itself. And the question that brought to my mind, actually talking about this, is the American dream killing the Black family?
So I think it's this: how is something killing us if it don't exist in the community?
Okay, that's why we're gonna talk about it on our next. Okay. I think that's gonna be a show. I think
we definitely could do that. We definitely talk.
But my last question is an interesting question, which is, can you be respected if you give your value away? And what I mean by that is, a lot of times, you know, you put yourself, I think we put ourselves in a position to be all knowing, all willing, and the end result don't always benefit us. I'll use me for example. So, you know, I've been on leave for a while, you know, I've been relaxing and everything, but I was lending my services to my area, helping them out, you know, standing in when, you know, they didn't have nobody standing and everything.
Right.
But now when it's time for me to, you know, need some help on some things, I don't hear from them.
Of course. Because
now they got their value out of me.
Right.
Now they don't need me. Now I'm no benefit to them. So can you, and not just in that aspect, but in a lot of other aspects, can you be respected if you give your value away? So you we always say do things without accepting anything in return. And I do believe that. However, I do think that we use that term loosely and we end up giving away our true value and our worth for pennies on the dollar.
Ooh. In a sense, yeah, I think, but the thing is, only knowing the respect you should really be maintaining is your self-respect if you do that. So you can take that however you see fit. I think that's the case. That's like I said, yes, you lose your respect, but the question is, did you lose your self-respect?
So for me,
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
Now, I'm gonna add something else to it. So a couple of years ago, Kodak Black was on the Breakfast Club,
Okay.
and he had said he had never met Master P, but he said, you know, he respect Master P and everything. And they were talking about, you know, Kodak, you need a mentor and things like that. And so they was like, why don't you, you know, reach out to Master P and everything? And Master P was like, yeah, I'll mentor you and everything. I have no problem. But if you want, you know, a certain type of thing from me, you know, I'm a 10 grand, I think. And I'm just using 10 grand. Kodak Black thought that was Kodak Black took that as an offense and was like, you know, how you gonna charge this, that, and the third? But then Master P had to break it down to him and say, you would have paid the white man more, and he would have gave you less. But however, if I have the skills and the knowledge, why should I give it to you for free?
True.
And I think that we do a lot of for free, especially in our community, and get nothing in return because we're too busy trying to hold on to this status of you know, I got you, I got you, I got you. And when does I got you actually turn into a give or take relationship?
Right.
And I think a lot of times we find ourselves in it, not just in the community, but in general in life, we find ourselves always giving, giving, giving. We're giving our time, our effort, our energy, which by the way, you can't get back. And all of a sudden, you know, you're left without. You're not replenished.
Well, I think so. The Bible, please give out the kindness of your heart, but not the foolishness of, I forgot what it is. But either way, when it comes to something like that, make sure you give it for the right reasons. Like you said, without respecting anything in return, you know, or expecting, you know, because some people did, oh, well, yeah, you know, if I give this my last $100, God's gonna pay back me tenfold. So I should be expecting $1,000, $2,000 or more, you know, within the next few weeks or the next time frame or so, you know, and that's what I take it as. Now, like I said, it depends on what you're giving away for you to lose your self-respect. Now, like you said you gave away your time in order to help somebody, but in return, when you needed some assistance, there was no one here answering your phone call. You know, the thing is, the reason and the purpose, you know, the reason and its purpose. And it's not that you lose all respect, you know. And I think the question is, do you have the self-respect, you know, in order to move on?
That's actually a great question. So for me, yes, but that's actually a great question
Because a
because
lot of people don't.
and that's what I was about to say. Sometimes that cripples them.
Yeah, it does. But that goes back to saying you just don't do things in vain. Stop doing things so in the vanity of thinking that people are going to take notice, or people are going to willing to want to compensate you for whether it is you giving your time, your money, body, mind, so whatever you giving, you know, your marshmallows, you know, your chocolate bar, your graham crackers, you
Right.
know, you put in for s'mores, but now when it comes time for your BLT, nobody wants to give you the bread or the bacon. All you have is the lettuce and tomato.
I agree. And you know, you brought up a good point. You know, and I
Yeah.
always and I always live by this. And even more now, I always say, you know, if you're gonna do something, do it without thinking you're gonna get it back.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
Yeah.
you gotta be okay with that.
Yeah.
And and that's why I try to live by. But I thought it was a good question because a lot of times we do give a lot out. And my other thing is if you can't afford to give it out, and that's not just monetary, it's time, energy.
Yeah. Right.
Because I tell people sometimes I had to
'Cause-
take a step back from volunteering and be like, you know what?
Right. Because you think about it, if you don't have that to give and you do it anyway, you didn't respect yourself to know, like you said, how much you really had and know your boundaries. You pushed yourself overboard in order to do that. And that's totally wrong. When
I agree with
you put yourself out, as they say, for the
I
benefit of somebody else and get nothing in return, then yeah, you got problems. You're gonna have an issue. You need to get that person out of your life.
So that's it for my questions today, man. How you feeling about it? How you feel about
Not too
that?
bad, man. I like that. We should do this more often.
Yeah, the pitch
Maybe we
and
should do.
catch.
Maybe we should. Yeah. Maybe we should do this live one time.
I
All
agree
jokes
with you.
aside. Yeah.
In the next week, we're gonna do a live one. We're gonna do 2 live shows.
All right. Yeah. Pitch and catch would be a good one.
So you got anything that you want to add?
Always the usual. Like, subscribe, and share. And hit the little button for notifications and whatnot as well. We out there. We out here, baby. We out here.
Yes, and I say the same. Please, questions, concerns, comments, hit us up. You could DM us or you could shoot us an email. We definitely will read it and look at it. And don't be scared to come on the show. Don't be scared.
By all means, come out.
Oh, we won't, because we only get better by conversation.
Right.
We only ask for respect. We don't
Right.
have to always agree. We just have to respect each other.
Right.
So, Marshawn Taylor, William Coleman, and we'll see y'all when Wu-Tang comes out for the 50th anniversary tour. Be blessed.